G'day everyone, it is Monday, November 24th. So this is the high energy period peaks today. We had the Tropical Cyclone Fina, was officially born a Category 1 on the 19th, moving over the Cobourg Peninsula, Tiwi Islands towards Darwin over the weekend where it reached Category 3. I didn't quite think it would make Category 3 due to the interaction with land, but the models were actually right with this one. We saw some very heavy rainfall in these bands coming into convergence zones through the Cobourg Peninsula, Darwin, Daly coast. There were falls up around 500 mils, and possibly locally higher, where these rain bands stalled through, just to the east of Darwin over the weekend. System's now in the Joseph Bonaparte Gulf. It's Category 4. High energy peaks today, and you'll see by the track map the future track of this system. Once we pass today, or even in the next few hours, we should see this system rapidly weaken as it moves towards the coast. Interestingly, past track maps had this system washing out, by the 28th on the coast, but we've seen this system start to speed up, which shows that this high energy period is ending, and they do have a major influence on the systems themselves. So what I've been saying since last week is that while I didn't forecast this, I did look at the track map in my system, and I did suggest that this system would cross the coast around the Mitchell Plateau, and it's going to be fairly close to that, where it washes out as a trough low pressure system before it moves onshore. Being such a small system, it won't bring a lot of rain through the interior on its future track. It'll be mostly confined to that North Kimberley coast and North Kimberley interior, and any remnant storms should filter down through the northern interior, but that's about it. You can see it's a very small, tight packed system. I think that's what's held it together. It was so small. A larger system would have been more disturbed by the land mass itself, but this system was lucky just to pass through the eye of the needle, so to speak, through that Van Diemen Gulf there. So very interesting for my research. Darwin really dodged a bullet with this one. There were some quite strong winds just offshore, but the system being so small kept the damage generally outside some trees and some local roof damage pretty limited. So yeah, very, very lucky, but it shows that this western basin is prime this year, and we're still looking at that next system forming up here to the south of Indonesia, pretty much north of the Pilbara, anywhere from the first week of December. There are some hints in the models that there's still another system to form yet, so while I didn't forecast this one, I'm still confident on the next one to form within the next 2 weeks. So just pay attention to that, everyone out on the west coast down towards the Pilbara, and we're looking at that crossing down here near anywhere from Onslow to Port Hedland as a tropical system there. So yeah, very interesting. So yeah, again, this high energy period ends today, and we'll see Fina break down very quickly once the energy tap's turned off, and then we'll see the system accelerate towards the coast. I actually think it'll cross the coast around the 25th, not so much into the 26th, 27th. So I'd be surprised how this thing accelerates today. But there's still cyclone warnings for the North Kimberley coast down to, I think it's Wadair. Correct my pronunciation if it's wrong. Just mostly for damaging wind risks and those sorts of things. I'll post the specifics in the update today. This is a final video for Cyclone Fina, just to look at the rainfall. This is a rainfall accumulation now into when it crosses the coast. Just note that these models bring it in through the Joseph Bonaparte Gulf, and it's likely actually to move further west. So these rainfall signals down into Kununurra may actually be further west, but the total should be about the same. They'll just be further west than what's shown. So we can see a lot of the rain's cleared from the north, from Darwin, Tiwi Islands, Cobourg Peninsula, and those sorts of things. And due to that system being just offshore, any rain's going to be highly coastal. This model shows 10 to 20 mils, but this coastal strip might see 20 to 50, 20 to 100 mils just with those outer thunderstorms that roll around the system. Moving into Tuesday, we see the track of the storm. As it starts to move onto the coast, we'll see falls increasing up to 50 to 100, maybe even higher, up towards 200 mils on that North Kimberley coastline from Cobourg south towards just north of Kununurra in the Joseph Bonaparte Gulf. Into Wednesday, as this system moves onto the coast, we'll see those rain bands start to filter down further south to the north of Derby, north of Fitzroy Crossing, as this system washes out into more of just a trough, and it'll just be broad thunderstorms as soon as the system touches the coast. So the focus of rain will really peak from around Tuesday as the the core of the system starts to move towards the coast, then by Wednesday we'll just see storms washing out into the northern interior of Western Australia, into the Northern Territory. So by Friday, this will just be a broad thunderstorm trough down into the Alice Springs district of the Northern Territory. And these storms will be highly hit and miss. Being down here, there's not a lot of moisture coming in from the northwest. You can see the track of what was left of Fina. Didn't really bring much of anything really. There'll just be some scattered storms. There'll be 10 to 50 mils, possibly some little scuds that might press a bit higher falls, but nothing really exciting. So this is the first system of the season. While it was quite strong, it didn't really have much depth because we didn't have the monsoon attached to it. So once that monsoon comes down, we'll see these types of rain systems dramatically increase in rainfall potential and even just general intensity of cyclones themselves. But that's a key feature why we're not seeing the rain coming down through the interior, is we don't have the monsoon attached to it yet. It's still a bit early. The monsoon will come down around that for mid-December. In saying that, if we get the next system in early December, we might see the same thing, and that's why I'm not forecasting huge rainfall for the Pilbara into the same period, into mid-December. I just don't think the monsoon will be attached. I don't think the monsoon will come down until that last week of December, when we get that next broad tropical system, that broad tropical low, more traditional system that hangs around into week 2 of January, and that's when we get that broad monsoon trough and broad tropical low that sits right across the top end to the Cape York Peninsula. So I think the next one will be the same, just a tight little system, and having to move so far south might lose a lot of structure and be less of a risk to the Pilbara coast into mid-December. But we'll have to wait and see how it forms, have a look at the models and keep up to date with any developments moving forward. So this is windy.com, just a quick look at the winds for Fina. You see it's a quite symmetrical system now. It's out over open waters. Winds around the gusts, the gusting winds around the core, are gusting up around 180, 190 kilometres an hour. So it's a Cat 3, high Cat 3, low Cat 4. You can see winds highly limited to the coast, very limited wind inland. Winds are only gusting to 50, 60 kilometres inland of the coast, and even along the very coastal strip, winds are only gusting up around to that 90 to 100 kilometres an hour mark. So still damaging wind risks. But there's limited infrastructure through here, so it's not really much of an issue except for a few communities. And then if you follow the track of this system, it quickly breaks down as it moves away to the southwest over the next 24 to 48 hours. This is the ECMWF. It brings it down in the Joseph Bonaparte Gulf, but the system should actually weaken. Once it weakens, it'll move to the west and recurve around to the Mitchell Plateau. So this track's probably wrong. We'll stick with the bomb. This is the bomb track, so it has it moving a little bit slower as well. So it has it weakening from today. So if we go into this wind field with the bombs model, winds are a lot less than the ECMWF. But moving into tomorrow, you'll see that system breaks down quite quickly as it moves towards the coast. Once it gets into this coast, there's wind disruption from the east, south, and west. So this is part of the reason why it'll break down quickly as it moves towards the coastal strip and moves on shore. Again, this system from this model brings it down through the Joseph Bonaparte Gulf, but if you place the overlay on, this is the Bureau of Meteorology's map. It should move to the west and across around Cobourg, Mitchell Plateau, anytime tomorrow. So yeah, that's about it, done and dusted for this system. Nothing really to worry about. Rain will be clearing from the top end today, and storms will just start moving back down through the southeast interior, parts of South Australia, Victoria, and right up through the Queensland coast. So I won't really be covering much more on Cyclone Fina. I'll be starting to look for this next signal out towards Indonesia and the northern or eastern Indian Ocean moving forward.